I'm a little shy, but so I have a nonprofit. It's called Not Just a Smile, and so we focus on bringing awareness of mental health in Black and Brown communities in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on Sunday, we're having a party at Puttery. Have you ever been there? Love it. Where wherever we break even on the cost, we're going to use the rest to cover the cost of therapy for individuals who can't afford our therapy grant fund. So yeah, tickets are $5 to $15. So whatever you want to pay to support the cause, it's pretty cool.
All right, that's a TikTok video that caught the attention of our producer here at Queen City News. And this is all for a community effort to make mental health more accessible and just more openly discussed right here in the Queen City.
Important topic. So we're joined this morning by Taylor Marshall, the woman behind Not Just a Smile and this weekend's event. Before we get to all the fun that's going to happen on Sunday at Puttery, tell us about Not Just a Smile and how you guys started and what you're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in high school, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And at the time, I think, mental health has become more normalized in conversations lately. But I think back then, around like 2015, 2016, especially in being from like communities of color, being Black, it's a misnomer in our communities from time to time. So I was faced with the usual, uncertainty about like what really that meant, a little bit of like dismissal, about what I was going through. And it wasn't until I found community of my own that I began to feel as though, I wasn't so much of an outlier when it came to what it was that I was going through. Seeing other people who were experiencing similar things helped me, and I knew that it would be important to give other people that same type of community. So during COVID in 2020, I think we all had a lot of time on our hands, right? So I decided to take that opportunity and start Not Just a Smile. What initially began as an interview series, just to interview people who were dealing with things like, anxiety, dealing with like hypersexuality, being trans and things like that, eventually branched out to be so much more, and we started doing things in the community. And now here we are some 5 years later and still going.
Wow, just an interview series kicked all of this off.
Yes.
That's incredible. And I know that it's not just talking about it, which is so incredibly important, but also creating more access to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what kind of access do you help people provide in order to find that right kind of connection for their mental health?
Yeah, so there's a few, I name it as like three main things that Not Just a Smile does. So one of which is called Filling the Gap, which is a workshop series that we do where I'm able to bring in clinicians or industry experts on different topics to offer free workshops for individuals. So I think we've had 3 so far this year, so continue to do those, just trying to find people who are versed on different topics because we can't always go to therapy, access therapy, so providing resources is important. The second one we do is a party series called For the People, By the People, which is more of a space for people to just kind of decompress, meet others, vibe out, and have fun. And how they work is that wherever I'm able to break even on the profit from the party, I then funnel the rest into Grounded, which is our one-on-one therapy grant program where we're able to provide individuals with 7 free sessions of therapy. So we'll do 1 assessment and 6 sessions so that people are able to, essentially you can stretch it between like 3 months just as like an entryway into therapy. The goal is to eventually be able to, provide like a year's worth. But for now, just providing that entryway is something that is helpful for individuals.
And talking about that grant program, what have you heard from people who have utilized it that just kind of getting that start? Because I think that starting that therapy can be tough to push yourself to do in the first place, and then you run up against costs. So what have people told you that has meant to them in their journey to just kind of talk about their mental health?
It's definitely been a lot of like gratitude that individuals have expressed, and I think that's what makes me want to continue to do the work. I think you get caught up in all of it, and sometimes you forget about how like impactful it is when you're not hearing from people one-on-one. So just like that gratitude, individuals, even like the application itself, and seeing people like recognizing what it is that they're going through and why they want support and why they need it, it gives you the fuel to keep going. I think the first time I opened applications, because right now they're for Charlotte specifically, I think I had about 40 people who applied for it, and even that gives me like the fuel to keep going because I can't help all 40 right now, but the goal is to be able to continue to do so. It's just I'm just trying to find what I can to give them what they need.
Yeah, one of the ways doing so is having these For the People, By the People parties, which is so interesting. You don't normally hear, again, these topics that can be so overwhelming, like your mental health, partnered with a day party. So what do these kind of events look like?
Yeah, so typically, as a way to also be community centered, I think the name, right, For the People and By the People, it is specifically that. So one, I source local DJs here in Charlotte to provide individuals with one, you want to give them the ability to help the community. People follow who they know. They come out to hear music from DJs that they like. So that's that community aspect that comes in. I think even having different DJs allows for different music sets. Everyone doesn't like the same thing. So having like house and piano, hip hop, old school R&B. I think like that's really the fun about it. I think this next one will be my favorite so far because we were able to partner with Puttery. So while people are paying like $5 to $15 for the tickets, so we leave them open so people can choose how much they want to pay to support our cause. But with that ticket purchase, they get to mini golf all day, right?
Yeah.
So it's like being able to provide like multiple spaces in one for people to connect and have fun. That's usually how it goes. And I mean, so far I've heard people who've come by themselves and had an amazing time, who've come in groups. But I think the outcome always is that like it's just a great event.
Yeah, and kind of having that range to pay can kind of make it a little bit more accessible too, because not everyone wants to go spend $20 to pay to play mini golf. Details: if someone's like, hey, this is something I really want to get involved in, where do they go to purchase the tickets, and what are the hours that they can come by?
Yeah, absolutely. So the event this Sunday is going to be from 4 to 9 at Puttery. If people are interested in purchasing a ticket, I think a quicker way to find it would be to go directly to our Instagram, which is @NotJustASmile, and there's a direct link right there in the bio for people to purchase tickets. It's also able to be found on Posh if people have the Posh app, posh.vip, under Not Just a Smile as well. That's how you can find a direct link to it.
Amazing.
Taylor Marshall, thank you so much for coming in, telling us a little bit more about the organization, and hope that Sunday is going to be just packed full of a lot of people. And definitely a good day to be inside.
Yes.
Indoor putt-putt would be a great thing to do, as we know this weekend, Ted, is going to be an absolute scorcher.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.